This conversation with both of you is special because both of you were formerly engineering leaders. Khawaja, you were the former VP AWS Elemental, and Daniela, you were director of platform engineering at Lightstep before deciding to co-found a company together. And the co-founder relationship is really interesting because I feel like there are a lot of confounding and hidden things about being a co-founder that a lot of people struggle to understand on the front end. And so we're really excited to dig into both of your stories here. So really to start, like let's start with your co-founder story. How did you both meet? How did you decide to co-found Momento together? Give us the story.
Yeah, so Khawaja and I have known each other for over 7 years at this point. We first started working together when we were both at AWS. Khawaja was head of engineering on the DynamoDB team. I was an early engineer on the developer ecosystem team within Dynamo. Really, that team was sort of chartered with the mission of putting DynamoDB on the map. Against various other databases at the time in the market, understanding the needs of the customer, working backwards from the customer, directly feeding into the product roadmap. Uh, Khawaja moved on to work at or head up AWS Elemental, and I joined Lightstep, which at the time was just an early stage startup in SF. But we stayed in touch. We always knew we wanted to work together again. It was a matter of time. We just moved on to different endeavors, develop ourselves. And we decided to finally co-found Momento together after many years and after we both felt ready to take that leap of faith. And we always knew we shared that aspiration. We wanted to be bold, we wanted to do something impactful and disruptive, and we wanted to leave a positive impression on the world. So that's sort of the inspiration behind the company.
Quadra, from your perspective, is there anything you would add to that story? I guess I'm also particular curious about like the early conversations between you two, when you were starting to understand, we want to start a company together. What should we do? Like, what were some of those early conversations that sparked the interest to work together?
The one unique thing about our founding story is that it was about the team more than it was about a product. We started with, we're going to be co-founding a team. We're going to be co-founding a company. It's going to have a team, and the product is going to be secondary. We'll figure out what the product is if we get great people together and if we energize them and inspire them. We will do something that accomplishes the three goals that Danielle outlined. So once we decided we're going to co-found, we went down this list of ideas, and we essentially picked, one of them that we were most excited about, and gave it a shot. And as we hired people, the people on our team also knew that they're joining the company, they're joining the team. They're not coming for a specific product. They're coming to work with, I think as Daniela called it, to work with a set of people that just want to get things done, right, and make that impact.
I'm really curious about like the idea of starting team first and then coming up with an idea. Like, what was the process of discovering and establishing the idea that you wanted to pursue with the company? Like, how did you curate the ideas, and then how did you filter out and ultimately decide on what you're doing with Momento?
There's the famous Jeff Bezos saying that you can have a ballet or a rock concert, and you can do really really well at either. It's just got to be clear which one you're doing. And uh, one of the constraints that we put on ourselves was we're going to not be constrained by domain expertise. We wanted to be brave and bold. And our initial idea that we ended up picking was in the consumer space. And if you know anything about Daniela's background or my background, you would see that we have zero expertise, zero domain background in building consumer products. But we did not let that deter us. And I think, if anything, we over-index. Like, I think we really fell in love with this constraint of not being constrained by our domain expertise. And unfortunately, that led us to, or fortunately, it led us to over-index on it and pick something that was really, really not in our domain expertise, because we were always curious about what it's like to build a product in the consumer space. And we just also found that we felt that it could be more impactful, as well, specifically given the particular idea that we had picked. And in terms of curation, it was, we had a list. It was completely unbounded. I think we had like 8 or 10 ideas on there, and we looked at how disruptive this is, how much of an impact it makes on society, and how big it can really get if we hit it out of the park. And we rated the ideas, and we ended up picking one, and we were off to the races.